Welcome to Intro to Leading Indicators. In this video, we're going to navigate the Leading Indicators dashboard so that you can get a sense of your early warning system for how well your outbound is doing before the results show up. To access this dashboard, navigate to the left-hand panel in your Unify instance and scroll down to Leading Indicators. There are three sub-dashboards under here: prospecting, emails sent, and intent signals. Let's take a look at the prospecting dashboard first. So this dashboard shows us the relationship between how many people or companies have been prospected and how many have been enrolled in sequences. What this means is when you have a play and there's a prospecting block in your play that prospects for people at companies, that's the prospecting indicator here. In contrast, the sequencing indicator is for any play. Once you've defined an audience, maybe you've uploaded it as a CSV, or maybe it's a LinkedIn trigger, how many of those people were actually sequenced? This is where you can get granularity into that and where you can break it out. First, note that you can first filter by looking into people or companies. So let's take a look at people. And what this tells us is during this date range that we've selected here, the last 2 weeks, we can see the trend of how many people have been prospected across all of our plays, and then how many people have been sequenced, and then how that's trending week over week. And seeing sequenced go up is a good signal because this usually means that as volume is increasing, we're more likely to get down funnel response rates and conversion rates. So generally, when I'm looking at this, I'd want to see it trending relatively stable or going up. And then I know that my results are going to be stable or up. If it goes down, like what we're seeing here in this week, then we can anticipate a decrease in future down funnel activities. Within this prospecting and sequenced setting here, you can turn on or off one or the other so that you can just focus in on a metric. And then you can also pivot by a specific play. Right now, in the last 2 weeks, this is showing me all the plays that we've run, and I can always deselect or select specific plays. And then that way I can get a sense of how well one play is doing for me with respect to prospecting and sequencing people. Now, when I scroll down, I can see the actual people that were prospected and or sequenced and where specifically they are in their enrollment status. For example, these two people just started becoming enrolled. These two people just finished being enrolled, and this person is queued, but the email hasn't sent yet. So at a high level, this gives me a sense where people are in that play. And then you can click into the person, and then on the right-hand side, click into sequence and see where they are in this sequence. So I can see that we've already sent them one email and that the next email is going to go out in 3 days. I can also click into their activity and see, oh, this person engaged with the sequence. They clicked on a link. They went to this page. So if I was a sales rep, this would be incredibly compelling. And I might even want to just enrich their phone number, pick up the phone and call this person right now. So this prospecting dashboard lets us see at the people level all of these different levers for us to get a sense of how well we're trending going into our funnel. And that's just by people. If we filter by companies, we can then see prospecting attempts across all the companies that we've decided to enroll, as well as the average success rate of who we've been able to prospect and identify. If at any point you forget what any of these are, you can always mouse over the question mark icon and get a refresher. Scrolling down, we can see the list of companies that we've prospected into, and here we can look at the contrast between prospected and sequenced. So for this company, we prospected one person and sequenced one person. For this company, we prospected 2 people through the prospecting node, but ultimately ended up sequencing 5. The other 3 we probably already had in our system. Maybe they're already in Salesforce. Maybe they were fired off by a LinkedIn trigger, for example. So this lets us look into that level of granularity. If I click into a company, I can also look at their activity level and get a sense of how well they're engaging with our sequences. Scrolling down, actually, I do see that their CEO liked a post. And if we click on it, we can see exactly which post this is. So I think this might be Another good reason for us to use to reach out if we're thinking of ways to re-engage or write better messaging to resonate with them to result in a meeting booked. On the left-hand side, you do see the AI research panel. Here, we let this panel follow you around so you can action on any insights here. If you have that light bulb moment, you say, oh, the CEO liked this post and they're focusing on this initiative. That's a really good reason to then pick up the phone call and send them a custom note or write them an email related to those topics. So that covers the leading indicators prospecting dashboard for prospecting people and companies. Now let's take a look at the email sent dashboard. On the left-hand side, under prospecting, we can click emails sent. This lets us take a look at how many emails are actually getting sent. We can pivot here by play, by sequence, or by the user who triggered the send. We can configure the number of weeks we want to slice to look at, and we can see leading indicators like the actual number of emails sent here, open rate, click-through rate, bounce rate, and we can look at the trend in the chart. So seeing this blue open rate drop from 16% here on October 14 all the way down to 0 might be concerning, for example. That said, it is currently October 23, 22, 23. So also they probably just haven't even opened the email yet. But seeing this kind of trend is what this dashboard surfaces so that we can get ahead of something that might not be working. So if I'm seeing open rates go down, that means I might want to take a look at my subject lines and see, did I make any recent changes that might have resulted in a less compelling subject line, and start to be proactive about making adjustments there. Scrolling down, we can see people here that were sent, and then we can go into activity and do the same kind of exercise where we can get that deeper view on what might be happening, and that way we can action on it a little bit more intentionally. So for example, this person actually did open this email, so I think they're a hot lead that we might want to stay on top of. So this activity log gives us those kinds of insights when we're trying to see how well our sequences are doing. When you're trying to debug what's working and what's not working, you can always pivot here by play, sequence, or user. If we pivot by play, we can turn plays on and off and look at a specific play and then see how well this play has been consistently sending emails. I'd be curious what happened on this day and why no emails were sent, for example. Let's say we want to understand how well a specific play is doing with respect to emails sent. On the left-hand side, I've selected just one play for us to look at, hiring for AEs. Here, I can get a sense of how many emails were sent from just that play. And then on the right-hand side, I also filtered and selected just this play so that I could get a sense of open rate, click-through rate, bounce rate, and I can see the trends in the chart here. I can also scroll down and see that this person opened this email. I can go into activity and scroll down, see that they opened this email here. So I'm going to take a look and be like, what about this email might have caught their attention, and use that to do a follow-up. But this view allows me to get granular visibility into how a play is doing, how open rates are doing, and then I can filter this and take action on that. And then, of course, I can scroll down here and I can see all of the people that were in this play, where they are, their enrollment status, whether they opened or clicked, and so on and so forth. Similarly, I can also filter by sequence. So if I'm curious how well a sequence is doing, I can go ahead, let's just filter out into one sequence here. Perfect. So let's just do this 6 Sense partner sequence. Cool. So I can see here, again, how many emails were sent in this sequence, what's the open rate, click-through rate, and this relatively high open rate relative to relatively low click-through rate tells me that my subject line might be good, but maybe my reason for booking a meeting might not be. So this gives me that visibility, and then scrolling down, I can see all of the people that were enrolled in this sequence as well. Last but not least, you can also pivot by user. This is the Unify user that sent the sequence or the play, and look into their email send metrics and open rates, click-through rates, and see the people that are in there. Finally, let's take a look at the intent signals dashboard. So we use a custom blend of enrichment providers, including 6sense, Demandbase, Snitcher, and Clearbit to identify and de-anonymize visitors to your website. This intent signals dashboard lets you see how well that's doing. Here, we can filter by whether the company has been identified, whether the person has been identified. We can see your traffic, the identification rates, and then we can pivot by country. If we scroll down, we can see the exact people and companies that were identified as well. Just to show the example, let's click company identified and scroll down, and we can see that these are companies that we've identified. Similarly, for person identified, we can scroll down and we can actually see the people that have been identified. So it looks like this person is on our website right now. And if we go into the activity log, we can see that today they actually searched for us on Google, and that led them to come to the website. We can see that they have been responding to our messages. They've looked at quite a few of our pages. They've liked some of our content. So this gives you a really great way to look deeper into your website visitors and take action on them. Well, that concludes the leading indicators tutorial. Hope this helps you out with navigating these dashboards and getting a sense of how well your outbound is doing. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and see you in the next video.